Let's start with a simple foundational truth. Every single digital thing you do, from sending a text to streaming this video to the complex AI models that recommend your next movie, is powered by a concept that's over half a century old. It's the brute force movement of electrons. Think of the circuits in your computer chip as a massive, sprawling network of superhighways. The electrons are the cars, tiny packets of negative charge, zipping from one place to another. A traffic jam of cars in one lane represents a 1, while an empty lane represents a 0. Transistors act as the traffic lights and toll booths, controlling this flow. For decades, this system has been a miracle of engineering. It's the engine behind Moore's Law, the famous prediction that the number of transistors on a chip would double every 2 years. This relentless miniaturization is what took us from computers the size of a room to the supercomputers we now carry in our pockets. But we've hit a wall, a physical fundamental wall. Imagine those superhighways getting smaller and more crowded. The cars, our electrons, are now so tightly packed that they're constantly bumping into each other, creating a massive cosmic traffic jam. This bumping and jostling generates friction, and that friction generates heat. That's the warmth you feel from your laptop. It's wasted energy leaking out of a system that's becoming fundamentally inefficient. Data centers, the backbone of the internet, are now consuming as much electricity as entire countries, largely just to run their systems and then cool them back down. We can't make the transistors much smaller without electrons starting the quantum leap out of their lanes, a phenomenon called quantum tunneling that in this context messes everything up. The very system that built our modern world is now holding it back. Our demand for more power, especially for hungry AI, is insatiable. The old way of doing things, the constant shuttling of electrons, is no longer sustainable. So, what's next? This is where our story truly begins. It's a pivot from the brute force of moving things to the elegant magic of using a property most of us have never even considered. A property called spin. Why this matters to you? Think about it. That lag when you're editing a video. That moment your phone stutters when you switch between apps. That's the ghost of this old system. It's the sound of the engine straining. Have you ever wished your tech could just keep up with your ideas, without the physical limitations of heat and battery life? The frustration you feel is real, and it's a sign that we're ready for the next leap. The answer isn't a better battery. It's a whole new engine. All right, let's address the elephant in the room, the word quantum. It can sound intimidating, like something out of a theoretical physics lecture. But let's break it down. When we talk about an electron spin, you might picture a tiny ball spinning on its axis like a planet. That's a helpful starting point, but the reality is far more profound and, frankly, cooler. Spin isn't a physical rotation. It's an intrinsic fundamental property, like charge or mass. It's just part of what an electron is. The best way to visualize it is to think of every electron as a tiny, perfect, built-in magnet, a compass needle. And this compass needle can only point in one of two directions, up or down. That's it. That's the core of it. Two distinct states, up and down. Sound familiar? It should. Our entire digital world is built on a binary system of two states, on and off, which we represent as 1 and 0. For 50 years, we've used the presence or absence of an electrical charge to represent those 1s and 0s. Spintronics offers a beautifully elegant alternative. A spin-up electron can be our 1, and a spin-down electron can be our 0. Here's the mind-bending, game-changing part. To read or change that state, you don't have to move the electron at all. You don't need to shove it down a copper highway. You just need to apply a tiny magnetic field to flip its spin. It's like using a magnet to flip a compass needle from north to south. The needle itself doesn't go anywhere, but its information has completely changed. No movement means virtually no friction. No friction means virtually no heat. No heat means virtually no wasted energy. This is the central promise of Spintronics, a field dedicated to harnessing this incredible property. We're shifting from a technology of transport to a technology of state. It's the difference between sending a marathon runner across a city to deliver a yes or no message and just flipping a light switch that's already in the room. Why this matters to you? Let this sink in. A smartphone that runs for a week on a single charge. A gaming console that's completely silent because it doesn't need a fan. Data centers that sip energy instead of guzzling it, drastically reducing their environmental footprint. This isn't science fiction. This is the direct, tangible result of switching from charge to spin. The next time your device feels hot or the fan kicks into high gear, just imagine a world where that energy is instead being used to power your experience. What would you create, explore, or accomplish with technology that's always ready, always cool, and always efficient? So, how do we actually build a device that can read and write an electron spin? The answer lies in a tiny, miraculous structure that sounds like it was named by a sci-fi author, the magnetic tunnel junction, or MTJ. These are the true workhorses, the superheroes of the spintronic age. Picture a quantum sandwich. The two slices of bread are layers of magnetic material. Let's call them the fixed layer and the free layer. The fixed layer has its magnetic orientation. Its electron spins locked in one direction, let's say up. The free layer, as its name suggests, is free to be flipped. Now, in between these two magnetic layers is the secret sauce, a barrier. But this isn't just any barrier. It's an insulating layer so impossibly thin, it's only a few atoms thick. It's practically a whisper of material. In classical physics, it's a dead end. No current should be able to pass through it. But we're in the quantum world now, and the rules are different. Here's how the MTJ works as a switch. If the spins in the free layer are aligned with the fixed layer, both are pointing up, something magical happens. Electrons perform a quantum trick called tunneling. They don't break through the barrier. They instantaneously appear on the other side, as if teleporting. This creates a flow of current. We can read this current as a 1. But if we apply a tiny magnetic field and flip the spins in the free layer so they are pointing down, opposite to the fixed layer, the alignment is broken. The quantum tunneling effect is dramatically reduced. The current practically stops. We read this state as a 0. This tunneling effect is what makes MTJ so breathtakingly powerful. They are incredibly fast, switching states in picoseconds, trillions of a second. They are astoundingly energy efficient, because flipping the spin takes a minuscule amount of energy compared to pushing a crowd of electrons through a wire. And here's the feature that changes the very architecture of computing. MTJs are non-volatile. Unlike the RAM in your computer, which gets total amnesia the second you cut the power, an MTJ holds its state. The spin stays up or down, even when the device is off. This means your computer could be truly instant on. No booting up. Your work, your games, your tabs, all exactly where you left them, instantly. Why this matters to you? Think about the loading screens in your life. The time your computer takes to boot up. The lag when you open a massive file because your system is frantically shuffling data from your slow hard drive to your fast but forgetful RAM. MTJs obliterate this delay. They can act as both ultra-fast memory and long-term storage. Imagine editing a 4K video or a complex 3D model with zero lag, where every change is saved instantly and permanently. How would that level of seamless, instantaneous interaction change your creative process or your daily workflow? Let's take this one step further. For a moment, think about your own brain. If I ask you, what's the capital of France? Your brain doesn't have a separate processor unit and a memory unit. It doesn't send a request from the thinking part to the storage part to retrieve the word Paris. The information, the memory of Paris, and the processing that retrieves it happen in the same interconnected network of neurons. Memory and processing are one. Our computers couldn't be more different. They're built on what's called the von Neumann architecture, which strictly separates the processor, the CPU, and the memory, the RAM. This separation has created what engineers call the von Neumann bottleneck. The CPU is constantly waiting for data to be shuttled back and forth from the RAM along a relatively slow data bus. It's like an incredibly brilliant chef who has to wait 5 minutes for an assistant to bring them salt from a pantry down the hall. No matter how fast the chef is, the whole process is slowed down by the travel time. This shuttling is what burns so much energy and creates so much heat. Spintronics, with its MTJs, offers a way to smash this bottleneck and build computers that work more like our brains. This is a paradigm called in-memory computing. Because an MTJ can both store a value, its spin state, and perform a logical operation, allowing or blocking current, we can build chips where the memory is the processor. Instead of pulling data out of memory, doing math on it in the CPU, and then pushing the result back into memory, we can send signals directly through the memory itself to perform calculations in place. This is a revolution for artificial intelligence. AI models, like the ones that power language translators or self-driving cars, are built on processing monumental amounts of data. In a traditional system, training an AI means constantly shuttling billions of data points back and forth, burning massive amounts of energy. With in-memory computing using Spintronics, the data stays put. The calculations happen right where the data lives. This could make them not just hundreds of times faster, but thousands of times more energy efficient. Why this matters to you? AI is becoming woven into the fabric of our lives, from the spam filter in your email to the digital assistant on your speaker. But its immense energy cost is a major barrier. Spintronics could democratize AI, making it powerful enough to run on your local device, your phone, your watch, without needing a constant connection to a power-hungry cloud server and without annihilating your battery. What kind of intelligent, personal AI tools would you want if they could run instantly, privately, and efficiently, right in the palm of your hand? Let's get practical for a second. At the mathematical heart of almost all AI is an operation called multiply and accumulate, MAC. It's the repetitive, brute force math behind recognizing your face in a photo or understanding your voice commands. In a traditional computer, each MAC operation is a clumsy dance of data shuffling. Now imagine a simple grid of MTJs. Each MTJ is set to a specific spin state, representing a weight of value used in AI calculations. When you send input signals, a stream of 1 south and 0 south, through this grid, the magic happens. The MTJs, based on their spin, either let the current flow or block it, effectively multiplying the input by the stored weight, all at the speed of light and with almost zero energy. At the end of the grid, all the resulting currents are naturally summed up or accumulated. This is an analog, in-memory MAC operation. It's elegant, incredibly fast, and profoundly efficient. But Spintronics has another, even stranger trick up its sleeve. Traditional computers are deterministic. They are built on a foundation of perfect order. They hate noise, randomness, and chaos. But what if we could harness that chaos? The spin state of an electron, especially in certain materials, can be naturally unstable. It can fluctuate or oscillate in a way that is inherently random. This is called thermal fluctuation. For a traditional bit, this is a nightmare. A 1 might spontaneously flip to a 0. But for a new type of computing, probabilistic computing, this isn't a bug, it's a feature. Probabilistic computers are designed to solve problems that don't have one perfect answer, but a range of good possible answers. Think of optimizing a delivery route for a fleet of thousands of trucks, like for Amazon or UPS. There are trillions of possible combinations. A traditional computer would try to brute force them one by one. A probabilistic computer, using the natural randomness of spintronic devices, could explore thousands of good enough routes simultaneously, finding an optimal solution in a fraction of the time. Researchers are even exploring chaotic computing, using networks of oscillating spintronic devices to solve complex parallel problems that mimic patterns in nature, finance, and even brain activity. It's like turning the unpredictable fuzziness of the quantum world into a computational superpower. Why this matters to you? This kind of computing could revolutionize our daily lives. Imagine a GPS app that doesn't just find the shortest route, but instantly calculates the most likely fastest route by modeling traffic patterns in real time with all their inherent uncertainty. Or think about the AI generators that create stunning images from text prompts. They rely on a process of starting with random noise and refining it. Spintronic hardware could be the perfect engine for this creative chaos, generating unique art, music, or designs tailored to your imagination in seconds. What complex, messy problems in your work or life would you love to solve if you had a tool that thrived on uncertainty? If you thought things couldn't get more futuristic, hold on. Spintronics isn't just an improvement on classical computing. It's also a critical stepping stone to its ultimate successor, quantum computing. The building block of a quantum computer is the qubit. Unlike a classical bit, which is either a 0 or a qubit can be a 0, a 1, or thanks to a quantum property called superposition, both at the same time. This ability to exist in multiple states at once is what gives quantum computers their almost unimaginable power, allowing them to solve certain problems that would take a classical computer longer than the age of the universe. So how do you build a qubit? There are many approaches, but one of the most promising is the spin qubit. The up and down states of an electron spin are a natural representation of a 0 and 1. And because of superposition, a spin qubit can be in a state of both up and down simultaneously. Here's the profoundly important part. Companies like Intel are developing spin qubits using silicon. This is the very same humble material that we've spent the last 60 years perfecting for our classical computer chips. This means we might not need to build entirely new, exotic, billion-dollar fabrication plants to manufacture quantum processors. We could potentially adapt the vast, existing infrastructure of the semiconductor industry. This makes the dream of quantum computing feel much closer, more tangible, and more scalable. Spintronics isn't just the next chapter. It's the bridge to a completely new book. Why this matters to you? While you won't have a quantum computer on your desk anytime soon, their impact will be world-changing. They could simulate molecules to discover new life-saving drugs, design new materials to fight climate change, or break the encryption that protects global financial systems. By paving the way with silicon-based spin qubits, Spintronics is accelerating our journey towards solving some of humanity's greatest challenges. What is the one problem in the world you would want a quantum computer to solve first? After hearing all of this, you're probably asking a very fair question. If Spintronics is so revolutionary, why am I not holding a Spintronic phone right now? The truth is, the physics is dazzling, but the engineering is brutal. We're talking about controlling the individual spin of billions of electrons on a chip the size of your fingernail. It's like trying to perfectly choreograph a dance for a billion hyperactive gnats. The ultra-thin insulating barrier in an MTJ, the one that's only a few atoms thick, has to be manufactured with almost impossible perfection. A single atom out of place can ruin the tunneling effect and render the device useless. Achieving this level of precision and reliability across an entire silicon wafer is one of the greatest manufacturing challenges of our time. Then there's the cost and risk. R&D for a new chip technology runs into the billions of dollars. Convincing a giant corporation to bet the farm on a whole new paradigm when the old one still works is a tough sell. But the revolution is already quietly beginning. Companies like Everspin Technologies and NVE Corporation are already producing spintronic memory, MRA, for specialized markets that demand extreme durability and reliability, like in aviation, automotive, and industrial systems. Meanwhile, research labs at giants like IBM, Samsung, and Micron are pouring immense resources into solving the manufacturing hurdles. The momentum is building. The transition from lab to laptop is a long road, but we are well on our way. Spintronics is so much more than a new way to make faster gadgets. It's a fundamental shift in our relationship with information and energy. By merging memory and processing, it promises a future of technology that is more intuitive, more efficient, and more sustainable. It's technology that thinks more like we do. But the story of Spintronics holds a deeper lesson for all of us. It's a reminder that sometimes the most profound breakthroughs come not from pushing harder on the old way of doing things, but from daring to look at the world from a completely different perspective. For decades, we were obsessed with the charge of the electron. We built our entire world on it. But the solution to our biggest problems was hiding in plain sight the whole time, in its unseen, almost forgotten property of spin. It teaches us that the biggest changes often start with the smallest things. So here's a thought for you to take away. In your own life, in your work, in your habits, what is the electron charge? What's the one way of thinking you've relied on for so long that it's starting to generate more friction than progress? And what is your electron spin? What's the unseen, overlooked property or small fundamental shift in perspective that could unlock a more elegant, efficient, and powerful way forward? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Spintronics will be mainstream in our lifetime, or are the engineering hurdles just too high? I'm genuinely curious to hear what you think. Here's to your health, your curiosity, and to a future filled with world-changing ideas. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the tech that's shaping our world, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more stories from the cutting edge. Thanks for watching.